So when the first trailer for this movie came out, the teaser trailer, I thought that it was a bunch of mini horror stories put together into a movie. And I thought, wow, that's such a unique idea. That's going to be so interesting. And then the second trailer came out, like the official trailer, and I was disappointed because I was like, okay, so it's one big story about teenagers being haunted. That just sounds a bit generic, but who knows? The movie might be amazing. So fast forward to today, I saw the movie and I did not like it. And I'll explain why in this review. Welcome to my non-spoiler and spoiler review. The first part of this video will be spoiler free and the second part will be spoiler filled. I will warn you before the spoilers come, don't worry. So the plot is about this little group of friends that find this book that's apparently haunted by this girl that wrote it. She would write scary stories in it. The book basically ends up haunting them and giving them each a story, like their own scary story that's, you know, gonna haunt them. That's like the plot without giving away any spoilers. So I'll talk more about it in the spoiler section of this video. So I felt like the friends, like the characters were very boring characters. Like legit just boring. They had no character development. They were just any old horror movie character. At this point, I'm tired of seeing horror movies with boring characters. I feel like horror movies that are actually good have likable characters, like It Chapter 1, incredible movie. All of the kids have their own stories and their own character development, and you like all of them and you root for them. But then there's movies like this that just, honestly, they seem lazy. They focus just on the scary stuff and not on the characters, and it makes me not care about the characters, which makes me not scared for them, which makes this movie not scary. Do you get me? I honestly think that if they didn't add a whole big storyline and they just did mini scary stories, that would have been such a unique experience at the theater. Even if it wasn't like continuous characters, at least it would have been something different. This was just a basic horror movie. I'm gonna go over the cast and then I'm gonna go over all the monsters and then we'll talk about the spoilers. So Zoe Margaret Coletti played Stella, who was the main character in this movie. Her acting was actually great. I think she has a lot of potential, but this character was very dull and very boring. She did have a small backstory that had to do with her mother, but I don't think they delved deep enough into that backstory. And then we had Michael Garza, who played Raymond, and he was a good actor too, but once again, boring character. There was one character that I actually liked and actually was like rooting for, and that was Chuck, played by Austin Zajor. He was funny and he was likable and he was unique, so we stand him. Now let's talk about the monsters, and I can because they showed all the monsters in the trailer. Honestly, another issue with this movie is that they showed all the best parts in the trailer. Like literally every good part was in that trailer. So there was nothing surprising in this movie. Nothing. Okay, so the first monster was the scarecrow guy, I think named Harold. And his sequence was not scary. It could have been. He has a very creepy design to him. But the way that it was edited and shot and everything was just not scary. I didn't jump. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel like, this is scary, like creeped out. No, nothing. And then there was that zombie girl that lost her toe. Now, this part actually did scare me a bit. They left a lot of tension in this scene and a lot of silent moments, which helped a lot. So that was like one of the only parts that scared me. And then there was the spiders. We all saw that in the trailer, the girl with the spider in her damn pimple. First of all, girl, why did it take you half the movie to pop this pimple? It was huge the whole time. You could have popped it earlier. The spiders looked completely fake to me. Didn't scare me, didn't do anything for me, didn't even make me uncomfortable, didn't look gross, nothing. I was just like, this looks fake. And then there was the bloated, she was like bloated, right? There was that bloated pale woman with the long black hair in the hallways. I really liked her design. It was very scary to look at. The actual scene wasn't that scary, but her design was very cool. I loved how she looked. I did. And then came, I think the Jangly Man, or the Jangly Man was the least scary thing in this movie. He was fully CGI throughout his whole sequence and he looked so fake. His design was not scary at all. Like, legit at all. He just looked funny. Even his voice wasn't scary. The final monster is kind of a spoiler, so I am going to start the spoiler section right now. But before I do that, let me rate this movie. I'm gonna give it 4 jangly mans out of 10. Okay, so now it's time for spoilers, y'all. Spoiler warning. If you don't want to hear spoilers, stop watching, okay? So the final monster is the ghost that is haunting this book that is like hurting all of them. So it's this girl that was locked away in like a tiny little room for like years and years because she was albino, and her family, they were embarrassed of her, which is horrible. And so she like wrote these scary stories and just started haunting people, all this stuff. And she had one scary shot where she screamed, but the rest wasn't really scary. But I did like how she looked. It just showed too much of her almost, like close up, that she just lost her scariness. But she wasn't really supposed to be scary. Let me explain. Let me rewind a bit. So in the beginning, you see that the friends are being bullied by this guy. And he's like a jock, of course. Anyways, he gets killed by the scarecrow guy. The scarecrow takes like those giant forks. It's not like a fork, but it's like for like gardening and stuff. He like takes it and he stabs him with it. And then the jock turns into a scarecrow himself and he starts to like throw up hay and stuff. It didn't do anything for me. I was like, this is kind of lame. And then this other friend gets haunted by the tow girl, who drags him away underneath his bed into another dimension, I guess, and he's gone forever. He's like dead. And then the spider girl gets covered in spiders, but they actually save her and she doesn't die, but she does get sent to a psych ward until the end of the movie, where it shows that she got out, blah blah blah, and she's fine. And then the bloated woman in the hallway absorbs the only good character, Chuck, the funny one. She like legit absorbs him into her body. Maybe that's why she's bloated. She like absorbs people and she's like, oh, that's a lot of sodium. I thought the absorbing was a weird non-scary choice. If she like ate him alive, maybe that would be scarier. I don't know. And then the jangly man tries to kill the girl's love interest, but he doesn't, because the main girl talks to this ghost that is haunting the book. And she's like, this is not you. Don't be a monster. And then, of course, the ghost somehow turns nice. And she just lets them all go and sets herself free. And that's the end. So yeah, that's my Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark review. Let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comments below. Did you see it yet? If you did, let me know what you thought. If you didn't, let me know if you still want to see it. And if you're going to talk about spoilers, put like a little spoiler warning or something. Anyways, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!